Welcome in everyone to the Challenge After Show. Today, Jenna, Pamela, and I are talking about The Challenge Ride or Dies, episode 6, Come Michelle or High Water. Yeah. They give it away that Michelle's involved. Woohoo!
And such a stupid, someone at the top, the brass at the top was like, if this shit isn't puns, you're out. Heads will roll if there's not a word play in every title.
It makes absolutely zero sense.
Right.
And I want to speak to the person who's writing these. And I think that they're trolling us. I think that they know that us three specifically talk about the titles. So they're doing it. We're the only three people who I think read or pay attention to the titles. So it has to just be for us, right? I mean, I'm not egotistical at all. I think that this is all just, they're doing it for us.
Which person's name rhymes with hell? Michelle's close enough. Michelle, we'll put Michelle in for that one. We'll just wait till she has a big episode and then bam, we'll put her in for the title.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And also I feel like, again, I agree, Jenna, that they're just trolling us specifically, not just the world. Like for them, they're like, no one looks at this. I can put whatever the heck I want. But I do feel like whoever is doing this is like, title it. I don't know, what's a song, water, like Michelle or how. Yeah, that they're like, no one's ever going to see this. So.
Well, ladies, our vignettes of the evening give us a lot of setup. And because we did not get a club scene, which I pointed out last episode, they decided to give us a club scene to start this episode off. And we find out yet again that Jordan is a superhero when he's talking with Anissa. Lots of fun setup there.
Pam, was that an eye roll?
It's an eye roll because I'm sticking to my story. It's like, oh, and I have perfect aim and I can do like everything perfect. Yes, Jordan, again, he was my number one pick for our draft. Jordan is the best. Jordan is a Superman. I know this already. Like, it's like, is Anissa just realizing this? Although, again,
I don't think she was just realizing it. I really appreciated the conversation because I thought it was really thoughtful. And although Jordan has heard it before and he has it kind of deep in his heart that he knows to use his disability, something that maybe could be seen as a disadvantage, he's made it his biggest strength, and that's made him who he is. I know that he knows that, but I'm sure it never hurts to be reminded because
of course,
he probably never hears it on the level that he needs to have that extra encouragement. So I appreciate the conversation because Anissa is so heartfelt and thoughtful with it. And I think she just wanted to say, like, genuinely, I recognize you. Like, if you need to hear it, or whether you do or don't, I need you to know that I feel it and I'm thinking it. And I love at the end of the episode, she said, this is a partnership I never knew that I needed. And I do feel like this episode as a whole kind of spoke to the whole ride or die theme, because you see a lot of those partnerships really be friends to each other and express themselves to one another and make these really incredible bonds because they know it's you and your partner versus the rest of the world in this game. So this was a really good episode that played into the theme.
You're right. And snarkiness on my part aside, I think I'm more rolling my eyes at myself for like falling for it. It is beautiful. And Jordan, again, in this episode, again, never ceases to amaze me with his abilities, which he did once again today, and we'll get to later. The only snarky thing I will say is with the eye roll when Anissa was, it then made sense and I get it. So all right, calm down everybody. But when Anissa was sort of relating with Jordan in their, talk to the camera moment, and she was saying, yeah, for people like me and you. And I feel like Jordan was like, what do you mean? And then she was like, as like a Black Jewish lesbian.
Yeah.
And I get it. So it's like also not the representation that one might need growing up seeing that. But at first I was like, what are you talking about, Anissa? You're not handy. It's like Anissa can't be everything. But then
but she was in the late 90s when she came onto the scene for the Real World, of course, as we all know, she was definitely representing a community that wasn't being represented on national TV. So that's why I think that's where she was coming from. I didn't take it that way, the disability side. I totally took it. I'm sure you did too, Pam. But I totally took it from where she was coming from. Yeah.
But the way it was set up, I just had to throw in some snarky before I left with a little sour and sweet.
Yeah.
But yes, it was very sweet. But at first, when Anissa was like, for people like me and Jordan, the representation at first, I was like, record scratch.
Well, honestly, Anissa, had to go through a lot in her early seasons of the challenge, just with people being rude and small-minded about the fact that she is a few extra things. Like, I don't know. People were so fucking small-minded about it. Like, I just remember, I can't put a name on it.
Was
Trishelle at one point, but even earlier than that, I was watching an old season on like Pluto, right? As we say, as it's always just like 24 hours on repeat. There was, I can't remember who it was, but it was a female cast member that was just like, you need to pick something. Like, you can't be Black and Jewish and a lesbian. And it was like, what the hell? I absolutely
Gosh,
can't.
who was that? I remember that very
It was Trishelle,
vividly.
wasn't it? Wasn't
Was
it
that Trishelle?
someone different? Trishelle was the one that was like,
Maybe.
It was definitely Trishelle was one of those people. I'm sure she experienced multiple.
She did. Yeah, there
issues.
was another season when somebody kind of buried her for that too. And Anissa always, as probably sensitive as she was to it, God, I feel like I would probably be like weaker, you know, and like cry and be so sensitive. She always held her ground and always like stood firm in who she was and was so awesome in that moment. And still now people I feel like are getting more vocal, as they should, because there's more support. As crazy as this time is with how like mean people are to each other, there's also like kind of a support system in, no, be who you are, say what you mean, like don't vote for anybody. But I almost feel like she was doing it before there was like an acceptance.
She's a pioneer. No, she is definitely ahead of her time. And also it's like saying like, Jenna, you can't be a female from New Jersey that's married and has hair. It's like, which one of those things do you want me to like forsake? Like, it's like, I mean, I guess of those things, has hair as a choice. I mean, I don't know. But the point is, it's like, dude, and now the world is more aware of that. It's like, she's not choosing to be a Black Jewish female. Like, it's just the way it is. So what are you gonna, you know?
I'd like to say one more thing on Jordan before we move on. I'd like to say that Jordan's reach is going a lot further than just MTV and the challenge. The challenge ends for me. I watched it this morning, right? It goes right to the last channel that I watched on my direct stream, which was ESPN, because I had watched Monday Night Football or something like that. And it pops up in its first take on ESPN, okay? And this guy, Dan Orlovsky, is talking, okay? And he's with Stephen A. Smith, who's very popular. I'm sure you ladies might have heard of Stephen A. Smith.
Are you talking about this morning?
This is just this morning. This morning they're
I wonder,
talking.
yeah, because I tuned into your direct TV stream to watch the episode. I also saw Stephen A. Smith arguing with, maybe it was this man about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys.
Okay, so they went to a game. It was this game this week is Kansas City versus the Chargers, and Dan Orlovsky was asked, is this a must-win for the Chargers? He said, yes, it's a must-win for the Chargers, just like it was a must-win for Jordan last night. And he didn't give any context to it. He didn't mention the challenge. He didn't mention anything. So Stephen A. Smith, of course, has no idea what this dude's talking about. But me, as a viewer, I'm like, he's talking about the challenge and Jordan.
Are you sure?
100%. He mentions Jordan from the challenge, but does not say Jordan from the challenge. He just said, just like it was a must-win for Jordan last night. I love that guy. And then he just went on to his next topic. Does not even say the challenge.
You sure it was like Michael Jordan?
Yes, Michael Jordan played a pickup game of basketball. And it was a must-win last night. Get out of here.
And Michael Jordan has proven nothing in his career. So last night's pickup game was an absolute must-win for him.
Must-win.
It is weird to throw that in there with no context. That's
why I thought it was weird. But that's why I'm saying Jordan's reach is going so big. Maybe he thought he didn't need to say that it was from the challenge or MTV. He did not. I swear to you, he just kept going on to the next topic.
Wow, that's a social media. We have
that's
to like
a niche.
Let's look it up. Or we should look on Jordan's
like
social. We should look on Jordan's social to see if he reposted that. All he had to do was post that 2-second because he just talked about him for 5 seconds.
And it just happened. So Jordan might not even know yet. Breaking news, Jordan.
Yep. Dan Orlovsky showed you some love. Dan Orlovsky showed you some love on the challenge, on First Take ESPN.
And while we're Jordan fangirling, we might as well mention also, if you didn't see those shows where we mentioned it, that Jordan didn't just comment on Ukraine from his couch like the rest of us. He got in on a flight and went and saved refugees and brought supplies and brought families across the border. and was using his social media to let people know what was actually needed there, diapers, food from the front lines there, brought his ass over there and put his money where his mouth is to help. So Jordan definitely wins our MVP of the episode. And
episode end of life.
Yes.
But also, I love that he's still Jordan. Like, he still talks his shit. He still backs it up because
we will get into that because he talked so much tonight.
But then nice,
Pamela,
being like, "Good job, Jack." Like when Jack was
blocking. I know when Jack was struggling to survive. Pamela, you mentioned
sports. Do you agree? I love the both sides of it. I love that people work really hard, like in silence, right? And you don't need to taunt another team, be humble and kind of know your skill set. That's almost even like cooler. But there's also something so fun about people who talk shit. Like, that's kind of like, you need that sometimes.
I love shit talk, but I really like the support where it's like, look, we both know I'm better than you. It's almost like when I'm playing with a kid, like Calvin, and I'm like, good move. Like when
Jordan was playing with his food in a way
like
he's
Jordan
like, I know I'm gonna beat you, so why be mean about it?
Right, like actually saying like, good job on that one. Like, look, buddy, you got one. You blocked one. Like that was good.
No, I don't think he was
mean. No, he wasn't patronizing at all. I'm saying it's like, we both know I'm better than you at this point. It wasn't patronizing. It was like, shit, that was a good one. Like, you actually got me on that one.
Okay.
I was like, that was a good one. Okay. Like,
yeah.
Well, speaking of Jack, we get back to the house and Jack, who I can't stand this episode, and I'll get more and more into that as we go along here. He says, oh, hey, Jay, while they're all working out, hey, Jay, the cameras are here. I guess it's time for you to apologize to me. I'm like, get Jack. First of all, stop trying to start conversations that Jay didn't even want to have with you. And you know what? Thank you, Jay, for not taking the bait and basically just going back at Jack and giving him shit about him trying to get you to give him an apology. So thank you, Jay, for not, believing that BS. I can't stand Jack. I didn't like that he did that. Let it happen. He didn't want to give you an apology. Don't ask for one because the cameras show up while you're all working out. Please, maybe I thought too much about this.
I thought that whole scene was funny. I was enjoying the pettiness. I did enjoy that Jack said, hey, I think the cameras are following us for you to apologize to me, because maybe he's right. Because honestly, when you see the storyline of what happened last episode, and now Jay is going into the workout area that Jack is already in, you have to follow that and see what happens. So it's kind of funny that Jack maybe was like, hey, Jay, cameras are here. Maybe it's because you need to say something to me. I agreed with you totally wholeheartedly at first, Dan, where I was like, Jack, who gives a shit? Like, Jay can work out too. All he simply did was enter like the fitness room. But at the same time, I understand Jack's perspective, because he is feeling like, hey, we were friends. I never would have said your name. I expected you to be a number, and you threw me in, and I'm not over it. So, hey, I'm going to call you out. Let's like actually talk about this. Let's address the elephant.
What are the words that he's using to describe Jay, though, right? It's a rat. What is he saying to him? Trash.
That's funny. Like, that's just
not to me. He's taking it to another level that doesn't need to get to. Dude, it's a friggin' game. And I can't believe how sensitive, and we'll see in this episode later on when we talk about how all of the characters on this show are being extra and doubly sensitive. And I really do think it's just to push storylines. I don't really think that they care that much if you really to ask them. I think they need to push certain storylines, and they're getting extra emotional for the damn cameras. And maybe they've always been that way, but to me, it seems like it's just extra pushing that narrative where I really don't think it needs to be. Dude, you got thrown in a game. Go and prove yourself now. Let's move on.
I'm in between both of you guys' feelings on this. I did enjoy the scene because I thought it was kind of funny. At the same time, I also thought, well, I enjoyed it because it made me like Jay a little bit. I liked the way he was approaching it. Like,
exactly. That's the part of the scene I like. Yeah.
What? So we're not going to write songs?
Yeah.
I get why Jack is mad, but I agree that he was taking it. It's like, first of all, buddy, you're a rookie. Like, you have never been here before, so calm down. You'd probably be going in anyway. Second, I get being pissed because your friend threw you in, etc. But at that point, it's like his level, like the trash, his vehemence was a little extra to me, which I
Well,
kind of
that's
thought
because the
was
camera's
funny.
there, Pam. You think he acts that way if the
Yeah.
cameras aren't there? No, he doesn't
Maybe.
even
I
bring it
think
up.
him and Laurel are a little bit scary people. That's why I liked that it was cute that he and Jay were friends. I don't think he has a lot of friends. I don't think he's a friendly, nice guy, particularly to bros or whatever. So I
Mhm.
do think he was genuinely hurt, and I get it. But again, it's like, check yourself. You're on a TV show. I get that you're pissed, but the whole like you're trash. Like it's like come on. That's a
Well,
little
that I
extreme.
think is, how we during the CBS show, Tyson's humor always rubbed me the wrong way. I think that is Jack's humor. Like, I think
Okay.
a lot of that is kind of fabricated sarcasm, but that's just the way I see it. Maybe he is going too hard, but I think that it's, it's his way of being funny. Like, you're trash, and I stand
Yeah.
by that.
No,
Jenna,
I'm sure it's like when I say I hate someone, it's like, of course I don't really hate this girl from Bachelor in Paradise that was on for 3 minutes. But I don't know. With Jay also, particularly at the times that he's been on, he's taking me on a mental roller. Like I love him. And then I was like, what with the Michelle? And then he was coming back up, and then he made some sense today. And then he went like, he is all over the
Mhm.
place.
But
I am
listen,
all over the place with my feelings for him. And what do you guys think? I mean, I guess we can get into that more in the deliberation.
well, I actually feel kind of empathetic to the Jay and Michelle roller coaster. Like I kind of touched on last week, even though they dropped the ball and they botched their time in power, I do think it's because, we mentioned Jay has never really been that politically minded. It's not really a part of the game that has his sharpened skills on or even really wants to be a part of.
Well, Michelle's terrible at it, though.
And Michelle, this is only her second season, and she left pretty early last season where we're kind of in with them during their growing pains. And listen, they have made a lot of deals in this house. They've made promises to the rookies. They have not made these really strong promises to the vets. So I don't think that they deserve like the complete bearing that they're getting from the veterans. Like I get that the vets are mad, but at the same time, like Jay and Michelle don't technically owe you anything,
No,
like
I
they
agree.
have to
Again, but that
protect who they
pushes
have to protect.
that
Who
pushes my
are their
thought
allies?
process, though.
That's my question. Like, who are they making deals with? Who are
Olivia
all-
Horacio, Nerissa Nelson,
Oh,
Amber and Chauncey, everybody in the house who they did not throw in.
They
Amber
even said
is
tonight
fine.
they're building an army over there. We just haven't. Producers are choosing not to show us that. They're just choosing to show us everyone getting mad at them to make it look like they're making all these bad decisions and all this BS. And it's just not true. They showed us that conversation with them, with Anissa and Jordan in the house. They never do those type of, they never show us that stuff. They decided to show us that so that it could be the payoff, Jenna, right? The payoff we get later would sound like it was bigger. They talked to everybody though, but they made it sound like this was bigger than it was. And
yeah,
why did
that
they?
is where I will agree. Like they weren't like, you're safe, we swear we're not putting you
Yeah.
in. They didn't say that. Like, so I don't know why.
And my question to you ladies is, why not Darrell and Veronica? They already had thrown them in once.
They
Why
had
not
said
put their name back in?
there was some
not?
reason for that day why they weren't like, like the same with Tori and Devin. I think there was like we told them we wouldn't do it again tomorrow. Like that was that's what I'm saying. Like Michelle is telling too many people things, but she didn't tell Jordan when Jordan, during the time where he's like, you told Johnny, you told Jack, Jay's like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. That was the actual, it's like, didn't you promise Jack safety? No. Didn't you promise Johnny safety? No. It's like, dude, no, I didn't promise those people safety. That's why you're here.
And I don't blame Jay for putting in Jordan and Anissa at the end, because how can you, during that deliberation or whatever it's called, is it called deliberation or it's called whatever that's called.
Yeah, I guess deliberation is when Jay and Michelle pick, but then the interrogation.
Thank you. So during the interrogation, I mean, doesn't Jordan just give him all the fire in the world? Like he has his excuse now. So Jordan, like, I love that Jordan's talking, and I never want to see Jordan go home. But at the same time, it's like, Jordan, well, like, what did you think was going to happen, man? And
that's
more power to Jordan
classic.
At the end, calling him out during the bone zone or whatever the hell it's called. But like, whatever. Like it's all in fun.
You're right.
It's part of the game. It's all in fun. Like, let it all happen. What are we all being such babies about with all this emotional? Like when Laurel was talking with Nani, like it was the end of the world. First of all, Nani, they hooked you up by putting your girlfriend in there so she could save your ass. If it came down to that, they tried their best. So whatever. I will get into it more later. But anyways, tell me your thoughts.
Well, no, Dan, I wanted to comment on the fact that you brought up that we're not really seeing enough by the producers, because that was something that I thought of the entire time watching it, is that we're not getting the context and the evidence to fall for these storylines, you know.
Which
like
I love that you said that.
Yeah, we can't like feel them. For example, I kept feeling as though Michelle is kind of being painted as this villainous creature, but I'm not really getting that, because I'm not really seeing all the evidence of what she's doing that is like so manipulative, so lying, and so just sketchy towards the vets. And they're saying it. So like Laurel and Nani are saying, like, she's lying to us and she's manipulating this and she's doing this and I hate her. And it's like, okay, well, if they're saying that, can I see that? Because
so
I don't see that like in the storylines. I don't see that in the real life, you know?
It's you use the word fabrication, right? It's all being fabricated through the confessionals as well. And I'll bring this up real quick, which I think is very fabricated, is the whole Horatio and Laurel, where they supposedly had a scene where Horatio tells her all about this girl that he has back home, which they decide conveniently not to show us in real life, but have them explain it to us through confessionals, which is the biggest giveaway that it's not that real, because all producer has to say to them is, hey, can you just say this in the confessional? And then Horatio, we need you to say this because Laurel said this. Where is the real conversation before the fabricated confessional BS? So this non-relationship they're talking about is all BS, and it wasn't as serious.
Oh, really?
I think so.
It's just like an under the covers conversation.
The confessional told us a story that didn't happen in real. We didn't see it in real time, like Jenna just said.
Why would they? I mean, okay, not that I.
But why? Why don't? Where's the cameras are on them 24/7? How did they have a conversation without the cameras, even in the sky cam in the side of the room? Right? It would be somewhere.
Mumble with things, right? Like, you know, I have a girlfriend at home.
Is Jenna frozen, or is it just me?
I think she's thinking real hard. Jenna, are you thinking real hard?
There's no way. She's
frozen.
Yeah, Jenna's frozen. Here, she's coming back in. I'm going to admit her back in. I thought
she was like really meditating on Laurel and Horatio.
Hold on. I admitted her back in, which is great. And then there's...
when we can see her frozen. The many sides of Jenna.
Oh, no. Jenna, you got to leave the frozen part out.
We liked your frozen picture next to your moving picture.
I don't know what's happening. I think my laptop died without fair warning. So am I still in it on my laptop?
No, it's finally gone, but it was great because it was up. Jenna, what's the last thing you heard? I was giving you mad props over there.
Oh, good. Thanks. The last thing I heard was the Horatio and Laurel storyline being given to us in confessional, not in what seems like a verite.
Which my point to you was, they're doing that with a lot of the storylines. But we're not seeing a lot of it happen in real time. It's just being a confessional later. It's like, well, then how did it really go down? Is it as serious as they're making it out to believe? Probably not. They just need to push. Like I said earlier, they need to push storylines, which is why they're so emotional. They need to push these storylines to us and make us believe that crazier things are happening. And I'll get to another great conspiracy coming up in a little bit with Nani and Bananas. But yeah.
Well, I have another point to that topic is we're kind of forced to draw the conclusions of the alliances based on past episodes. Like, they've kind of let those storylines completely disappear, like completely burn out. Like, we're connecting the dots of, well, Jay is working with Nelson and Horatio and Olivia and Doris and all these people because of like in episode 1 or 2, right? Like 5 weeks ago, they talked about it together while they were sitting in a bed. But it's like, can we still see that? Can we still see that those relationships are intact? Like, are they still talking strategy with those people? I want to know. I want to know the evidence. And again, like, to Laurel and Nani being so pissed off. Listen, everybody gets pissed off when they're thrown into elimination. These are also veterans with reputations and a lot of seasons in this game. So I understand them being like so emotionally disgruntled and being pissed off. You have a right to be pissed off, whatever.
You can feel however you feel, but I feel like them saying like you're manipulating it and she's a liar. It's like where is that? We're not really
Right.
seeing those
It's so
I don't
conversations
weird.
that
think
she's having.
she is. I think they're just playing her because she cries a lot.
Right.
Michelle's emotional and she falls for it when it's like, how could you do this to me? Like she did it to Nani and Nani was like, it's a game. We're not in an alliance now. That's the normal reaction. Michelle's like, this doesn't feel right in my heart. It's like, Michelle, stop falling for it. You're not in an alliance with them. They would do it to you. Again, now it's like, this is clear. You guys are going for the vets. Cool. Stop like crying and talking about it after. That's where Michelle's irritating me.
Yes.
And I would see other people. It's like, we're not sure. Tell us what you think. Like the whole pussyfooting. It's she's giving Kendall the reason why people I think were irritated with Kendall. Like, stop being a whiny bitch, basically. It's not that she's lying and doing anything wrong. It's just like, stand by your word, girl. If you're gonna put in vets, put us in. That makes sense. Don't sit there and go, I would never do this to you and do it, or you're not on our radar. It's like you have people you're working with and they're not them. So say, we don't know, we'll figure it out.
How did they used to give us better storylines, which were easier to follow with only an hour episode? Now they get that extra 30 minutes, and now it's just more convoluted with what? Them bitching about stuff instead of giving us like what teams are working together and like storylines that kind of flow from episode to episode. Why does it always have to be like, here's a cut and paste episode. Here's a cut and paste episode. Why can't we see? Now they're trying to do it with, they still are trying to do it with Tori and Jordan. They mentioned a couple times tonight, Tori says, oh, I'm rooting for Jordan. Jordan says, oh, it's hard to see a lover in there because you just want to jump in there and help them. So they're trying to keep that going. Jenna, if you want to pause your screen till you set yourself up, you're more than welcome.
Oh my God,
No,
this
I
is
like
so
it.
annoying.
Like
I'm so sorry.
We like watching it happen. That's fine too.
This is so annoying.
I didn't know
Hold
if you. I didn't know.
No,
if
I like it, but all right, fine, take it away. But Dan, I agree. It's
well,
right
we can
now.
still. I believe we can still hear Jenna, and she can hear us.
Yeah.
The whole
I just
cut
didn't
and
want to
paste
have her
now.
be embarrassed trying to like solve this issue.
No, it's
I'm
cool.
annoyed. Okay, we're good.
The cut and paste of it is always now leading up to the elimination and who's going to be in. So they're making up the drama of each episode around it, and it's like fine, sort of, but at the neglect of everything else is what their cut and paste format is doing now. It starts off with, oh, we really need to win. Oh, you put these people in, and then the confrontation, and then the finale, and it's like, we want to see other stuff too. Like, we'll still appreciate who you put in. You can give us a snippet of everybody's pissed and we'll get it. Like, we don't need an hour of the buildup of who's it going to be and how mad are they going to be.
And stop telling me, like, it's Horatio, I don't need to know how good of friends you are with Laurel. I know damn well you only met her 4 weeks ago. I'm sorry, I don't have any good friends that I made in a month and like now they're my good friend. No, it's someone I'm talking to. Maybe we'll become friends. Like 1 month of knowing someone, they're good friends. That's,
and they're hooking up. It's like you're good. Well, it's like camp or paradise when you're in that situation. So I get that they could feel like good friends at the moment, but it's like,
stop pushing narratives that aren't like, as a viewer, stop trying to make, like, you make me feel like I'm dumb. Like, I know you're not good friends. Like, knock it off.
I did like Jack
and Jay. Like, okay, you've made some songs together. Now you're best. No, they made it worse. They're like, oh, this is someone that I'm going to be friends with the rest of my life because we made a couple of emo songs up together.
Well, I would like to bring up this new topic of the daily of the thing by saying that I paid attention to the rules so hard. Like, I was like, I am going to follow these rules.
Okay.
I'm going to pay attention. I am going to know what's going on.
You want to go back on this other side, Jenna? All right, Jenna wants to switch back. Okay. Let's get Jenna, stay up from 2 angles. Can we get 2 angles for a little bit though? No?
Let's put 2 Jenna.
Yeah, do 2 angles.
Oh, stereosonic Jenna.
It's echoing like crazy.
I like
it was
it.
like, whoa.
Oh, that was so ridiculous.
So Pamela, you were talking about Down the Line, which is the daily challenge. Go ahead.
I'll tell you, why don't I explain it up until where I have no idea what happened?
Okay.
Partners go to dig in a place and there's 2 bags there. Mm-hmm. When the first partner gets a bag, they run with a bag of clues, which are letters, to a platform. And then they crank this thing.
No. The crank's on the bottom. right? Oh no, they have to crank
No,
it.
she
Oh,
got it.
yeah,
She's right. Keep it
the
going.
second
So they
part, you're
run
right. I'm
with
sorry,
their
you're right.
bag, right? Bag one.
Bag in hand.
They
And
crank.
to the platform where they're cranking this thing as far as it can go, so that is as far as the person will have to swim to get to the other platform.
Yeah, the ball
Excellent.
moves. So if the ball wasn't cranked far enough, they'd have to
Okay.
stop wherever the ball is.
Now,
Yep,
this is
right.
where I get lost. So then
Okay.
partner 2
Finds another bag.
finds another bag and runs to said same platform and does it, or to another.
No,
how
they
do
run
all
to a
the
set.
words
They
get
run to the
this?
high point. They run to the high
Oh,
point.
how are the letters from the bag one at the high point?
No,
They're-
the other person already brought them down to the low point.
Oh, so they're flying over. They don't open them up at the low point.
Right.
Bag one is with the person and the cranking.
And the crank at the low point.
And then the other person runs to the top part and sails over with their
the
bag.
second bag.
With
And
their
then they
bag.
have both
do the
bags.
puzzle at the low point.
Yes.
Yes, but to your point, my question is, how does the person cranking get to the puzzle platform? Did they
The
just
other
run
person,
there?
that's what I just figured out. The second person is flying down to them.
All right.
So, okay. So,
Cranking at where the puzzle was?
I thought so. No,
no, reverse.
Oh, okay. I
What?
thought they were
they're not. They're crank at the top.
No, they're cranking at the puzzle.
Yeah.
okay.
Crank
Okay.
and puzzle. That's what I just figured out. I thought it was the reverse. I thought it was set up the puzzle,
Me too.
crank,
Okay.
fly
Oh,
down.
no. I didn't see it that way.
Okay. Well, now I get it. Okay.
So they ran this in 2 heats. The first heat had 6 teams. The second heat only had 5 teams. So in a way, you kind of have an advantage going in that for a bunch of reasons. You only have 5 teams, and you get to watch the other people go. But I mean, I don't know really how much that could help you in this round. I really hope they didn't give away any of the words. I mean, how do they keep them separated? Like, how do they separate them? Hey, it's they're saying words. Hey, it's amigo. It's all these things. Like, I'm just saying, like, could any of that have happened and to make it a lot easier to solve the second round? However, Jay and Michelle did win, and they were with Heat 1. So they had a faster time, supposedly, than Horatio and Olivia, who won Heat 2. But then again, you say to yourself, well, if some words were dropped down, did the producer just give it to Jay and Michelle because there's a lot more drama that way?
I would like to think that they have some sort of sequestering of the heats where they're not watching.
I really hope so. I mean, they don't show us any of this. So again, we take it with a grain of salt, and people wonder why we have these, I don't know, thoughts or conspiracies or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, but like, then show us that they're not being kept in the same waiting area.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, maybe
how hard is it for
Fessy-
someone that's working together to whisper something in their ear? Producers gonna kick
True.
them off the show? Like, give me a freaking break. They're not gonna for that.
I think they keep them separate. I mean, I would hope that they keep them separate.
Yeah. I mean, Fessy's height, you know, him blocking the view of everybody else, hopefully allowed.
That made
some of
me
those-
laugh out loud.
Me too.
That was my only laugh
And
out
that's
loud.
why I
moment
miss the
tonight.
bananas, because it's a fun joke, but I
It was
still
great.
feel like people didn't even laugh at it. I thought it
It
was,
was funny. No, that was funny.
I
too.
laughed out
like
loud. It
Fessy
was really
didn't
good.
even react. You know, I almost felt, I was like, is he like offended by that? Because that's funny.
Yeah,
Fessy is what he is. He's maybe he
all
doesn't
a little thick skulled, a little thick skulled. Might not have got the joke.
possibly didn't want
Yes.
to laugh at himself. He didn't want to
I-
laugh. He's too cool to laugh at himself. I hate.
No,
I
I
hate
mean,
that
I
type of-
just-
if that's who knows if that's even true though. Yeah.
And I could be fabricating that observation. It could have been absolutely nothing. He was probably distracted by watching the game. But did you guys like this challenge?
I liked it. I liked it. I got it. It had a lot of elements. It was I enjoyed it, at least because I tried to follow the, usually I'm just like, I don't know.
I
But
liked it. I liked it better than last week. I was trying to look at camera angles when they were actually solving the puzzle part, because I was like, well, they have a very tight shot on Tori and Devin, right? But there's 3 boards behind them that they're conveniently not showing. So I'm like, are they really the only ones up there? Because if you just turned it, are there other people they're making it seem like Tori and Devin were running away with the goddamn thing and that no one else was there? I don't know though for sure. But then they did show Bananas and Nani, and when they showed the boards behind them, there was nobody there. Then they panned back to Laurel still struggling. So I'm like, okay, so maybe it's not being it's not a stretch. Maybe they really were the only ones up there. However, I will say, I do believe that fight between Nani and Bananas was a little, we used the word fabricated tonight. We can use it again, because we find out later that Johnny is purposely not trying to win this challenge. He doesn't want to win because he doesn't want to have to make the choices. We find that out later. So I can see why Nani is a little upset. But however, don't you think Bananas talked to her before this challenge that, hey, Nani, we don't want to win today because then we have to make a decision with this. For some reason, I don't know why he didn't want to make the decision, but he didn't want to make decisions this week alone. So I'm sure he told Nani ahead of time, hey, we're going to do the challenge, but we're not going to win on purpose.
Maybe he didn't. That's a really good
That's
thought.
where I don't know.
When
And
did
that's
he
what
say
I
that I missed that too. That
he had a
didn't
conversation way later with him and Nani on a bed, which clearly they were like, hey, producers, come in here. We need to have this conversation on tape. I don't know that, but for sure. But yeah. And he says to Nani or Banana says like, look, from now on, I want you to try 100% because I know you purposely didn't try this week because you didn't want to make a decision. I think Bananas even said it. I didn't want to have to make a decision with Jay and Michelle or something like that. I don't know, but he definitely purposely did not win this challenge, which is why he was goofing off during solving the puzzle. And that's
great. I actually thought the fight was authentic, and it must be fair to your reasoning, Dan, that Bananas probably did not clearly detail that to Nani before, which he has done before. He's done that before in partnership.
And that's why I know that part's real.
He's too good at these challenges to be somebody who can get away with faking being bad at one. So
and that's why you're right, Jenna. And that's why you're right, I think, in the way that Nani did not know that Bananas was going to do this, because why else would she be so mad? However, if she did know, that goes to my point of the conspiracy of them fighting being a fabrication, because if you already knew that Bananas was going to throw the challenge, why are you this upset?
She wouldn't have
had the fight earlier.
I don't think she couldn't have known because I don't think she would have gone for it. I don't think she would have allowed it because even if Bananas has his reasonings and it is really smart to fly under the radar and not get blood on your hands, but I think Nani is the type who would never try to divert power if she could have it, like being in power is still more important than being vulnerable to going in. And they did actually get their name called to go in. So
and we've already seen them won one challenge this year. So is it because of that? Like we won one already. We don't really want to win another one because then they're like, okay, it's been 6 episodes. You've won 2 out of the 6 already. And they weren't even in the first one, so they've actually won more. They won better than that.
But now
and the way he was goofing off was rude because it's like, Bananas, you would take if you wanted to win that daily, you would take it so seriously and you would be so mad at me. Let's say if it was like running and I was holding it back from your mile time, like you would be laying it into me. So the fact that you're just kind of like goofing off, listing letters that aren't there, telling me words, like being kind of condescending about it is totally annoying. So I felt her in that moment.
And she seemed real. I mean, that's why I do believe I don't think Nani's that good of an actress. Like her frustration on her face was real. Like, stop being a fucking idiot. But on the other hand, he was so sweet and cute to her. Just a shout out to Sweet Bananas when he was talking to her, like, you're my ride or die at the club or whatever. I was just shout out to him being nice. Like he was being very nice to her and saying, I want to win this for you.
Right. And I mean, later on, we'll talk about Bananas in a little bit. I thought he had some great stuff in the interrogation portion. So
another observation I had during the daily, and this isn't like a conspiracy theory, it's just kind of a curious observation. That's how we can soften.
Jenna doesn't want to go as far as I go with these conspiracies.
Softening language. A curious observation I had is it felt like it was damn harder to get these puzzle bags out of some of these holes than others. Like, listen, I don't know. Maybe I get it if some people are more skilled at digging, but Laurel is no slouch. She has endurance. She has played this game before. And Jordan, the fact that some of these awesome competitors are not finding their puzzle pieces, I'm like, are some of them like 8 feet in the ground and some 2? Because how did you get it in 35 seconds? And how are you?
I love that you brought up what I call a conspiracy because I had the same one. And yes, I know. This is a Dan conspiracy, has it written all over it. Did you notice the 2 teams in the first heat who made it first conveniently because they easily found the thing? Tori and Devin, who they obviously want to push that. They want them to have a nice run in this. And Bananas and Nani, who Nani's never won. They 2 conveniently. Everyone else struggling. Now, I'm not sure why they wouldn't want Jordan to get his puzzle bag first, because obviously he's got some great narratives and storylines coming up. But
Superman
at the same
can win,
time,
even if they never find their puzzle pieces. He'll be like,
but it's
like, you don't think they want to help certain teams out a little bit more than others? How do we know they dug those holes exactly right? You're right, Jen. I know it's not a conspiracy to you, but to me, it 100% is. And people in our comment section blowing up. Stop talking about the dagger conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? I got another dagger conspiracy
me
coming up
too.
for you this episode. So
this
Here's your
episode was,
tease.
everything worked out. Well, everything worked out like magic today with the
We'll
dagger.
get there. Pamela, I'll let you talk first on it and we will get there. And I have so much more to say after you.
Reality
Great.
TV magic. But point B to the whole digging of the whole conspiracy is, in my mind, the way I see it, I don't think they went so far as to try and make certain holes easier for certain partnerships. I think that maybe the level of difficulties of the holes were kind of arbitrarily done because they weren't like labeled for teams, right? Am I wrong?
I thought each team had a color. Each team had a color.
Oh
shit, they were. Okay, I'm wrong. I'm wrong then. I'm wrong. But in the grand scheme of things,
first come, first serve, whatever hole you want to dig up. No,
that would have negated.
I thought that's what it was.
It was go pick a hole.
Very much colored holes.
Yep, go to your team.
Go to your color hole.
Damn.
And good luck with how we dug it, especially for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's how producers are
then.
controlling the narrative and who gets to have the best chance to win, and therefore they can push that stuff. I'm telling you, it's real.
They sure were.
Luke is doing a modeling walk. I'm loving this. I'm loving
that walk. But you're right, because they do love themselves some Tori. And Tori and Devin haven't won anything, so they were probably trying to hook them up.
They're trying. They keep coming real close.
Look at how cute Carter is trying to go in the door.
I can't even see him. Oh,
he just went in with Luke, and Luke shut the door.
Maybe I'll get to see Larry. Larry has a sweater, a Christmas sweater, and an ascot on because he has a boo-boo on his neck, so I had to give him a scarf.
No way. Can we see Larry or no?
Larry.
But it would have been interesting for Jack and Laurel to have gotten power. Yeah. But also it is really interesting too that Jay and Michelle won. Like, I was kind of pushing for them to win when I realized they were so close to doing it, because I was like, shit, get power a second time.
Really, me too.
What you do with it this episode.
Yeah. And then you can say, once they won, producers was like, well, this is a great storyline. We got to let them win 2 in a row and see the drama.
Yeah. This is my biggest question, though, since we sort of covered a lot of their nomination and stuff. Moving along to Michelle and Jay more in depth. So they have their thing, and then Michelle comes to Jay crying, and they have this sweet ride or die moment where he says, like, she's ride or die for me, and I'm gonna have to go ride or die. And apparently that's when they decided to put in Jordan and Anissa instead of Jack and Laurel.
No, wasn't that conversation where they both started crying and he showed?
Yeah,
that was after they had decided, because the girls were basically not, I don't want to say attacking, but they were coming for her, and Jay was trying to make her feel better. And my thing with that moment was, Jay, all you got to do about the Casey thing is say, hey, Michelle, Casey's already won $1 freaking million. It's really okay if we put her up against her girlfriend again, Casey. I'm sorry. And then Casey's
true, Dan. Yeah.
Casey's bitching in the confessionals, right? And all I'm saying to myself is, Casey, first of all, I thought you already left this season. I'm realizing you're back on the show. I know you came back. I haven't seen you since you come back. I don't care if you go home, because guess what? I won't miss you. And by the way, Kenny got his first goddamn line on the show tonight. He said one line. He said, okay, Kenny, that's enough from you. Bye-bye. Go back where you came from for a little bit. I don't care about these two people. I'm sorry, but what do we?
And don't give a shit.
Yeah, I like it. Also, Casey won $1 million plus. She was also runner-up.
She's done. She's got her money.
What do you win as runner-up on Big Brother? 50,
I think she probably did well there too. I'm sure she did great. Why else would she be in this show if she didn't do well? If she didn't make it,
she's runner-up. She has $1 million. Okay, yeah. Again, send her home. Go home. And also, so Laurel and Nani were like mean girlsing Michelle. Like, my girlfriend goes home. That's it. And then she went and cried. But what was who cares if it was like Anissa just wasn't sitting on the couch? Basically, any of the three of them would have been mad. Why was it like, so now we can't put it? I don't understand the
listen. Okay, so earlier on our show, you talked about it is annoying of Michelle to do this damage control. Like, I agree. I wish that Michelle was a little bit. I wish that she was firmer in her stances. Like, girl, don't let them tell you did something wrong. Like, you're in power. It's a game for $1 million. You made your decision. Nani threw your ass in already and did not even blink an eye.
And would do it again.
A fountain of tears.
100%. That's why it's when they get mad at each other. I'm like,
But
Role reversal, yeah.
I believe Michelle though. I believe that this is not an act. I believe like she is.
I do too, but what is she crying
emotionally-
about to what's his name? To her
You don't
partner
know.
that
She's
don't
upset
get
the
it.
girls
So
are coming at her so hard.
basically-
She doesn't know what
no,
to
but
do.
so that's all. That's what she's crying about. But it seems like they switched this is what I'm trying to understand. Not why is she crying? I understand that she's upset, and no one likes to be. I'm not saying why is she crying. I understand why she's crying. I don't understand why that conversation led to switching their target, which was Laurel and Jack as they're going in.
But I believe the conversation you're referring to, Pamela, happened after they already picked their 4 targets. So
Yes,
there was no
they'd already
switch.
picked their targets. Yeah,
Right.
I think they shifted gears to Anissa and Jordan because of the way Jordan acted.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's it.
His interrogation, 100%.
When she was crying and then he got upset, what was he just upset that she was upset?
Well, he was crying
Well, I
in the
thought that was a cute moment.
Yes,
it was,
did
but I
too.
didn't understand what the impetus was other than that she
Wasn't he crying in a confessional?
Mm-hmm.
And that confessional, but that's my point, is he wasn't crying in that moment with her. He cried in a confessional later thinking about that nice conversation. So it
Yeah.
wasn't on the spot. It was
I
later.
didn't hate that.
No,
Like,
it's
that
you
was
want to
fine.
be. They want to be big and bold. They're playing with the two sides. They're playing with their brain that says, this is a game show for $1 million. Let's do it. Let's go for these vets. Let's be big and bold. But then they're also playing with feeling kind of the guilt and shame of hurting people's feelings and people kind of like pointing the finger at them. They're upset. I think that they're
manipulating that. Like Nani's saying, if my girlfriend goes home tonight, boy,
I'm coming after you. Yeah. And they need to deal
And
with the former
Jordan.
brain, as you just said. They need to deal with the former brain. It's a freaking game. Get these big players out, because guess what? If they win another challenge, no matter if you won or not, they're putting you in. If you didn't win any challenges here and Bananas and I win, you're on that chopping block. You're on that list. You're both pretty new players to this game. You don't have the alliances with these vets. So stop being,
they just need to get their head in the game and say, let's get our head in the game. You've got your alliances. We've got ours.
Put me on this show. I would go after every big hitter, because you know what? Make your mark while you can, because you're basically a rookie. Who cares? And yes, I know it's for $1 million, but if you did the percentage of the chances that you actually win that $1 million, what is it? 3%. So why not make your mark while you're there? Have some fun on the challenge and realize I'm getting my daily, weekly paycheck, whatever it is, and just have some fun. Stop trying to make a living out of this. Go back and get a real job in theory as well, so you don't have to worry about this being everything.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the case. Like, to your point. So the other thing I wanted to bring up about Michelle is that I think she really, truly, authentically cares about what everybody in the house thinks of her.
But that's her problem as well.
But can you blame her? Because this does turn into a job. Like, this does
they're being manipulative in the way that it's.
But can it turn into a job?
Again, but she's probably not seeing it because she's not a third-party outsider viewer watching a TV show. She's in it. She's in the incubator. She's in tunnel vision, and she cares about what
I don't think she's a freaking moron for feeling that way. Like, she is, again, a human that's feeling human feelings.
Let me do an example here, though.
Up a little bit.
I want her to, but she's sadly not really that person right now. Maybe she will get there.
Jenna, to your point, you had said that like they want to make this their job, right? So longevity on the show helps them make this their job. The more viewers see them every week, but also making your mark on the show makes it your job. Like, even if you went home somewhat early, if you made your mark and like tried to get out a bunch of heavy hitters and maybe got out. I mean, tonight, Laurel and Jack went home. The week before, I mean, not a heavy hitter in Colleen and Kim, but still they are sending people home by winning these things. So you make your mark, couple episodes. This is also her second season. Remember Nelson purposely put himself in for Corey that year and then had to go home, didn't make it to a final, but because of that big decision he made, guaranteed him more seasons. And I remember mentioning it then. I'm like, well, he's going to get more seasons. People want him to get his redemption.
Michelle now is making her mark as a character.
She is, but I wish she made a bigger mark and stopped going back on those marks, because that's going to make her not have this as a job. Jenna.
But that's not who she is. I think it's also speaking to kind of like a workplace. Like what Wes has said to us is that these people aren't really that big on wanting to backstab each other anymore or like confront each other, because it's also like work associates. Like,
hey, it's been work associates for 20 years.
Across the board. Yes. So whether that's events or reunions or interviews, whether it's being in a remote island without your cell phone, without your family and friends, or literally simply a room to kind of go in by yourself to cry or whatever. I'm sure it's really hard not to be able to have like a community friendship group on the show. She wants that.
But isn't Michelle making it worse by trying to continue with that community when she's already pissed it off? Like,
making it worse for us to watch her cry every week.
that's not helping. You're right, Pam.
Yeah, it's like,
all right.
But I think they are firmly, and again, it's not a bad idea. If they would stop, and I think to some extent that's what Jordan's saying, like stop promising everyone, just toughen up.
And I think that they would respect Michelle more if she just put him in and just let it be, and then therefore she can still have that work community after the show. What are we turning in this reality show? They need a work community now. They need to have jobs after this.
That is what it is, though. It's a new climate. Jordan is from the old school. Jordan doesn't give a shit because Jordan also had like an outside life and job and stuff. And
why can't all these people, why do we have to cater for them? Well, they need to have more reality shows after this. They need to get spin-offs. No, hey, how about after this, when I go to work, after I do this show for free, technically, with you lovely ladies, which I love, I go into my real job just like you ladies go to your real jobs.
Me too.
Like, what are we doing here?
I don't know, but I don't
know, probably because the climate of the way we work now does not afford us our bills. So maybe that's why.
I'm just never going to feel bad for someone for not getting another reality show because they made some big moves in the show and pissed some people off. I'm not going to, I can't relate to that.
And again, what they need to, Jay and Michelle need to just say, once again, everybody, pals who are sitting here strong-arming us, once again, call it what you want, divide it how you will. It's vets versus rookies, and we're on the rookie side. So stop with your shit. You're going to do the same to us. Win a challenge and be in the position. Otherwise, fuck off.
Listen, and I think we've all had those experiences, like those friends who you've seen maybe somebody talk to them illy, but they just don't have it in them to think about, but you did this to me, like Michelle in that situation, instead of being like, Nani, are you okay? Are we cool? She should have been like, listen, you threw me the hell in. And guess what? You didn't give a crap. So right back at you, girl, but it's just like not within Michelle's like form of thinking. And I don't want to like make any excuses for her. I'm not trying to do that. I just think she truly is someone that feels more guilt than she does like self-esteem. You know what I mean? Like, so that she's not.
Yeah. She's just, again, like I like Michelle. Jay, I'm up and down. I like Michelle. I do believe she's sincere with her feelings. And even she was very emotional too. So she's an emotional person, which is fine and fair, and I don't mind it. I just wish they would stand by their convictions a little harder, and I wish Jay would would just be more of a presence in all of this.
Yeah,
instead of just popping off
unfortunately
upset.
For them, they keep winning, so they.
Sorry, Dan. I was stepping over.
All I said was, unfortunately, because they keep winning, they're put in those positions where they have to make decisions, and they're not the best at it. And maybe they should bow out the next week. But now they're too deep. Now they got to win every week, or they're screwed most likely.
Now they're like
a lot
Michael
of people they pissed off. Yeah.
It's like, well, now the target's there, so you better keep winning, or you're going in. Like Michael on Big Brother. It's like, well, now shit, I can't fly under the radar. I have to keep winning, or I'm in.
I do feel like Jay is getting a little bit more swagger with a little more conviction with his decision making, and I like that, because I know last week they did drop the ball, that's definitely true, but also they have the right to make whatever hell decisions they want when they're in power. So,
that's why the drama is so ridiculous, Jenna. Right?
Yeah.
It's like you bet, Nani, this is your 14th season that you haven't won. Don't you know the rules already? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, that's not on Jay and Michelle to protect your girlfriend just because you've
done.
And they threw her that bone. Imagine if they didn't throw her that bone. They threw her the bone of being able to protect her girlfriend, which they ultimately get to. And Nani, I know that you never would talk about producers trying to manipulate the game, but don't you think they'd want to manipulate it for you to either save her or just, I guess, straight up go against her? But whatever.
So let's get into our conspiracy of the ring, because I was like, the way this panned out, it's going to be awful if anyone but Laurel and Jack and Jordan and Anissa go in. Oh yeah, I
explain,
didn't want to
'cause
see
I
Nani.
think it would have been interesting if Laurel and Jack, when we got to the, what the hell is it? The sand pit? What is it?
It's the
Here?
zone. It's the zone.
Zone.
How do I keep forgetting it's the auto zone? When they
You're in
get
the
to the auto
zone.
zone, how I kind of wanted it to play out. I think it played out better than I first envisioned, but I thought it would be fun if they said Bananas and Nani, because if I was Jay and Michelle at this point, now that they have ruffled the feathers of the vets, I feel like if I was them in power, I would just try to get the absolute strongest teams out in fear of who's going to beat me in the final, because Jay and Michelle have proven they have endurance, they have skill, they have puzzle doing skills. Like they can go to the final.
Swim, run, puzzle, dig, they got it all. Yeah.
So
So
you
if I'm
think that they
them,
should
it's
have
like-
put in Johnny and and
Bananas, and then hope that Laurel and Jack go in because of how good they are. Well, you know, they haven't actually performed well in the daily competition.
So is Anissa and Jordan again.
I was gonna say,
both
wouldn't
have
you
been-
want to see Anissa and Jordan versus Nani and Bananas? I mean, I don't care. I mean, that would be fine.
Yeah, but for Jay and Michelle, you don't want Laurel and Jack coming back the second time. I mean,
Right.
again,
But to Laurel's point during the interrogation, her and Jack probably aren't going to win a daily challenge anyway, so they can never act. I'm just saying.
have
but
that there.
they're certainly capable of it. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, Laurel tried to push that. She tried to,
it made
and I thought it
sense
was a
in the
good
moment,
point.
but
I
Michelle
liked
is
her point there.
also. I love Michelle, but I do think she's a little weak-willed. She's not as secure in her convictions. She's
Yes.
to put it in a nicer way, she is open. You know, not to say she's weak-willed, like dumb or something, but she is open to hearing. She's vulnerable to suggestions and input. And when she heard that, it was like, oh, I think you saw it get to her. Like, oh, that makes sense. But it's like, it's just the luck of the freaking draw. Either as Bananas and Nani, and certainly they're capable of winning things. Doesn't mean Nelson's the star because he won one. I mean, it's just there's consistency and there's flukes, and Laura's consistently a good player. So
She still sees the threat that Laurel is. Yeah.
I think Bananas is so good during that interrogation scene, just to bring him up real quick. I know that when he's speaking, probably everything he says is a lie, but the way that he says to Nani, he says, no, they're doing us a favor by putting in Casey.
Yeah, exactly. I do think
I was
totally
like,
lying,
this dude is acting his ass off, but it really seemed genuine. I knew he was lying, but I was like, oh, I love that line from him. You have to give him credit on his social game, because back-to-back weeks now, when he said thank you last week to them for not putting them on the block, I was like, that seems really genuine. I know it's not, but I love it. And then tonight when he did that, I was like, this is great.
And it's almost condescending, because we know Bananas doesn't think they're doing him a favor, but at the same time, he's like, no, Nani, they're doing us a favor because he wants to show.
It seemed real. Pam, Jenna, you seem like you didn't think that that seemed genuine.
No, it's just that I'm also thinking of another counterpoint where in the past we have seen Bananas be just very blunt and vocal and honest and kind of on his high horse because he is Banana and calling shit out, you know? So the fact that he is maybe playing this more PC, I just wonder what the motive is. You know,
I have an answer. I think Bananas is so good at politicking and manipulating people because he can read the situation and he knows that these two are impressionable and that he can control them, essentially. That sitting there and playing night, combating with them is not the way to go.
Right.
They could save themselves. They could say, no, they're doing us a favor. They don't want to put us in. We get it. You had to this week. You took heat for this. When Jay and Michelle are very impressionable. And they really don't know what they're doing. So a Bananas can get in there and save himself in that room. So I think that some people know exactly we're fucking putting you in, fuck you. Michelle and Jay are not that. And Bananas knows how to read the situation and knows that if he says, we get it, we see what you're doing, we understand, we're on your team, he's not going to be the choice.
That is a really awesome conclusion. And I love that you're drawing that between the lines, because that is something that I wish would be said in a confessional. Like if that is Bananas' MO, I wish that he was kind of giving us that side eye that we've seen in the past.
He did a little bit. He did a little bit in a confessional with it. He said, I'm going to tell them what they need to hear. And he said it last week more than this.
I guess maybe I wish that there was more, like how Pam completely drew that out. I wish Bananas would say to us, like the viewers, like, hey, I said to Nani, no, like they're doing us a favor, but really all I'm trying to do is make Jay and Michelle like us, or think that think that we're in good graces with them, so that way I can fuck them over later, you know. Like,
Exactly. At least we're not
they
the
used to
obvious.
kind of have a lot more of that. The confessional
Uh-huh.
situation is like interesting now. I don't know, it just feels like too much of one storyline, and
Well-
almost like the people are saying what they want the producers to hear.
Yes,
and
it's not
like,
I was gonna say the freeness of the confessionals is not there like it used to be, and you need someone like a Wes on the show who you do really feel like he comes prepped with all these one-liners that are going to work with certain situations, and also ones that he can just make up on the spot to make it more fun and more realistic. The other ones seem like it's very cut and paste. The producer asks you a question and you basically just repeat the answer. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really saying anything. The producers are basically writing the storyline the way they want to, and we have a bunch of talking heads out there without opinions, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So
Anyways,
conspiracy.
Yeah.
I think they
giving us
gave
though
Nani
plenty
bananas
that we're talking about and thinking about. So we're reading between the lines a lot.
Well, Pamela, I'm going to let you talk first on this, but I'd like to welcome everybody into a new segment of the show called Dan's Dagger, where every week we all talk about Dan's conspiracies on this dagger situation. Pamela, I'll let you go first. I think I might have the same type of conspiracy with this dagger for this week, for Dan's Dagger.
I think there is a tablecloth around the table wherein the daggers are pulled from, and there's a guy with a whiteout pen sitting under there.
All right, now you're getting ridiculous.
They tap. No, I think it's less ridiculous than tunnels built to the
I think there's a tunnel.
I think there's a person under the table with 3 daggers written, with each one of them has safety on it, and they tap safety over this one when the people line up. And it was bananas. Yay, we're safe.
So someone in the confession, someone in the comments last week wrote that they think that there's like basically a sheath that just kind of slips over each one. My conspiracy this week is, this is how they set this week up, I think.
Okay.
They had safe written on all 3
Every
daggers.
one of them.
And they purposely had Bananas and Nani go first, guaranteeing their safety. I wrote down they need to pull the other 2 daggers right the F now and show me that they're blank, because I don't believe it.
Show us the daggers.
Show us the daggers.
Show us the daggers. Hashtag show us the daggers.
Hashtag show us the dagger.
Hashtag show us the daggers. Hashtag Dan's Dagger. Hashtag step it up.
Yeah, but that's true, Dan.
That's a great introduction to the new segment, Dan's Dagger. I love that take. Love that.
I love it too.
Because come on, how did no one see this one?
Flip them all. Like,
I was thinking something a little bit more out of left field. Like there's a blacksmith under there who's just chiseling.
No, this week was an easy conspiracy for me to do this week. It was so freaking obvious. Why did Nani and Bananas get to choose first? What's the, like, if there's a reasoning why they put them in that order, tell us the reasoning, because you're just setting it up for certain people to fail and certain people to succeed based on the narrative that you producers want to push.
Okay, Nani and Bananas up safe, right?
Love it.
How convenient.
But I appreciate them for that, because they gave us the better storyline.
Oh, totally.
Agreed. I'm not saying they didn't, but yeah.
Usually they have them in other seasons, I believe. Usually they're like, all right, go ahead and flip those just for fun. Like, even if they do show us the daggers.
TJ has said that in the past. Like, well, flip the others so we know it's not BS, right?
Right. Who do you want to pick? Like, all right, your turn, just for fun. Haha. Now, yep. I think you're
not this season.
Right.
They're keeping those daggers a secret.
Well, they perfected their conspiracy, because now they'll probably do that every season. Everyone, it's like, whoever goes first, like, they'll just make it easy. Like, you got the safety.
Let's get into the zone this week. This actual elimination. Get in the zone. They should sponsor the challenge. I don't know. I'm sure why they haven't seen an AutoZone.
This is where I really miss Tony, our engineer, being in the room at AfterBuzz. He'd probably find it.
He'd find it.
Like, shh, get in the zone. AutoZone.
Yeah.
Also,
and we'd all laugh. Yeah.
Totally left field parenthetical statement from all the challenge history leading up documentary. Tony Two Kids never got any real mention, and he was a big part of the challenge. Like Tony
and that was kind of a big moment when he turned on Bananas that one time, and they didn't mention that. That could have been something they talked about.
Have like a scandal.
Yeah.
It's weird that he was just.
Tony,
I guess it just didn't fit into their promotional video, but most of it was.
Is he still Tony 2 Kids, or is he like Tony 4 Kids now?
Probably Tony 15 kids at this point.
No, that's the question.
I don't know.
Tell us
We'll
in the
have to find
comments
out.
below how many kids Tony has.
Dude, Tony.
Yeah, but that was just probably left on the cutting room floor. Like, I don't think there was a conspiracy. I think it's just like, look, he's not involved in the recent
Yeah,
stuff.
you know what else is funny too is I saw someone tweet to Jenna that and said, why weren't you and Zach included in the romance section?
Of course,
She's like, I don't know, I got so many questions about that, and I was just like, he.
I had mentioned that. I had mentioned that on this show too. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why aren't you guys mentioned? What's going on with that?
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. It's called. Did I write it down? What it was called? Probably.
Speaking
I don't
of,
think it
well,
matters.
you look for what you wrote down. Speaking of is, was, and will always be trash is Jenna, because I forgot until I was looking at her old, everyone's like, Barbie Beast, nice Jenna. Her early season, she's like, what's going on? She like has her Jersey accent, her sleazy boyfriend Jay that she comes on with. And I'm
I
like,
live for that
Jenna's a garbage
season.
person. That's
No,
why
I
she's
live for
with
that
Zach.
season.
I live for that
She
season.
and her
And they
cousin,
also
it's like,
mentioned.
fuck you, my dad wasn't in jail. I'd be making donuts too. Like,
Okay, it's awesome.
Jenna is a garbage person. That's why
They
she's
mentioned that season in the documentary where Jay wouldn't eat the
Jay,
food.
I was like, who is this fool? Like, who is
Oh my
this
God, I
fool?
loved it. They
Well,
were
just so you,
hysterical.
Pamela, just so you know, Jay was originally cast on The Real World.
I know.
Jenna
I
came
know.
in
I was so
as
confused.
his girlfriend. She wasn't originally cast on the show. She came in as his like girlfriend or ex
She's
or whatever.
from like Staten Island. Like she has a terrible like New Jersey accent, like we do. She's not like they turned her into this princess in later seasons where I feel like I got to know her better. She was like lauded as like a good competitor and a pretty girl and a nice person. And I was like, no,
and as much as we hate on Zach, her dating Zach on the show, Zach was already a big name. And Zach saying, oh my God, who is this girl, Jenna? She's the hottest thing I've ever seen. I remember that season. He could not stop it. Talking about how much he liked her.
It because of her butt. He liked her.
That is 100% true. He could not stop staring at her ass. And that brought them both into that next genre of these characters we wanted to follow. And then obviously Zach went off the deep end with his hate.
Love built on
his
butt.
ridiculousness. But yeah. The name of this elimination is called In Your Face. And it's basically dodgeball, and it's fantastic. There's actually a lot more to this elimination than meets the eye. There's a lot of strategy that goes into it. There's a lot more to it that we're going to get into. Let's do overall thoughts to start. Jenna, why don't you go first? Because alphabetically, your name goes first.
All right. Overall, I loved this.
Well, J for Jenna goes before P for Pam.
Oh, but you're D, Dan.
Oh, no, but I was going to let you ladies go first. Yeah.
Well, I loved this elimination. I want to know who the game makers are of this season because I'm loving them. I think the eliminations have been great. I thought that when I first saw this, I was like, oh, this is hilarious because it kind of looked like a janky carnival game because you have people's like blown up fat heads in a ring of fire and you're playing dodgeball. And then somebody has to become so doofy and embarrass themselves by being like a goalie as if you're in like a high school gym class, you know, like who wants to stand in front of all of these circles and like that?
I love that.
It was hilarious.
I would have liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. And I thought it was funny. But to your point, Dan, there was a lot of strategy to it. And it took me until Laurel not really having success throwing the balls to realize that the cement carrying is fatiguing your arms out. And that's probably why a lot of her throws were pretty weak and, a little bit lobby because you also have to carry all of those cement blocks. So you're fatigued by the time you get to the part where you have to throw the ball. Pam.
I think I can't say it as well as TJ said it, which again, I think TJ's been taking his nice pills, but
he's very nice at the
TJ
end.
said you guys crushed it from beginning to end, which is what happened. Jordan's strategy of we are carrying 4 bricks a piece, because think about it. When I carry bags from my car, the grocery bags into the house, your arm is going to be tired whether you carry 1 or 2. So I like to do a 1 2. Like it's going to be annoying. You're not going to feel like, yay, I want to go lift weights, whether you've got a little more, so you might as well get it done. So they made their time to give them more time by carrying more bricks each, which was fantastic. And then my shout out here goes to Anissa, who we really saw. So again, I played soccer with a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old a lot recently. And being a goalie for kicks that you don't know where they're coming from and what isn't totally easy. And that space was probably at least 12 feet long by, you know, you had a lot of space to cover there. It was way taller than even Jack's head. So it wasn't easy to actually block any of those. And they showed Anissa blocking things. Like, it probably was also because Laurel was a little gassed out arm wise. So
She blocked though, like she did play goalie.
She did. I was like, because that's
sure
almost like
did.
the nonsense position. I'm like, oh, like you be goalie, Johnny. You know what I mean? Like
No,
Sarah
goalie is hard as
something else.
hell.
So she was good. I think it all came together. That team of Jordan and Anissa really came together with their skills. They both pulled their weight, literally, in terms of getting those bricks there, and did it fast. Jordan, and they had the childhood flashbacks of this reminds me of getting this, has aim, has the ability to strategize of getting the low ones first, and then he can work on the top ones once they're. He thought, Jordan always thinks everything else. Anissa really did her share with the blocking. I think it really helped. Like, if she wasn't blocking, Laurel probably would have got more, because they showed at least her deflecting.
She did.
They're actually dodging a lot. So they really crushed it. It was teamwork. It was smart playing and skills. And it was honestly heartwarming to see.
All right. So there's a lot, even more. You girls both mentioned some great strategy, a bunch of stuff that happened in this. There's even more to it. Okay. That goalie that is standing there, okay, and guarding that one, all of them, right? But if they just, in theory, if the goalie just stood in front of that center bottom piece and let them go ahead, nail them all, but I'm never going to move from my position and just hunker down on that bottom center piece, okay? I'm pretty sure that the other team would not have ever been able to win, because what's happening is, if they're jumping from side to side trying to get the balls that they're throwing, they're leaving themselves vulnerable for each side, so that Jordan's able to get those center pieces and whatnot. And therefore, but if you just hunker down and say, I'm going to block this, I know it's more chancy. I get it.
No,
if you
it's actually
hunker
a good
down
strategy.
on one face, I don't think that it's a possibility. If you spread your arms out somehow,
I would have sat
body
down
out-
if I knew that strategy and I was the goal. I literally would have sat my ass down. In front
I'm
of
not
the
sure you
and
can
I
sit. I think you'd be a little low,
everyone.
Pam, but that is the
Crouched.
concept.
Crouch, and
right.
physically blocked with my body.
It's a
That is so
chancy, it's a
genius.
chancy way to do it, but you're also not leaving yourself vulnerable for that one piece. By moving around, you are.
All it
Now,
takes
Jordan
is
was
one.
also smart, though, too. He realizes if I leave it down for that one center bottom piece, all they have to do is stand there, right? So I have to work my way around. If I get that bottom piece first, then I go a high piece, then I go. He spread out her thing, so they were moving, and while they were moving, he was hitting. Last point. Jordan's got one hand. Well documented. We all know this. Laurel has two hands. Also well documented. She is not only able to hold two balls at once, she throws one, hands the ball over, throws again. Jordan, every freaking time, had to go and pick up a ball, and he still won. That's how good Jordan is.
So good.
And that's why he was mentioned on ESPN today.
And that's why
good
Jordan
for him.
really has two hands. That's
And
what-
your strategy is so genius that I wonder if they set a rule against that.
And we
Like
weren't
an
we
illegal
were
because
privy
you
to
figure
it.
that
Or
out. It
like,
didn't
I know
cross
you
my
guys
mind
don't
at all.
know. I know you don't know women's lacrosse, but there's a rule called shooting space that if the person with the ball on offense basically pumps to shoot, the defender cannot just point blank stand in front of them like this, right? Like, because they're making it so that the defender can't shoot because they're just going to shoot the ball at a human. Like, basically the defender has to stand on an angle and just put their stick in the
Right,
lane.
okay.
They can't stand in front of the goalie, like they can't play second goalie. Yeah.
Your
So I
body's not
wonder if they
the
had something like that in place, but then it would just feel like how would they even articulate that to them?
Right.
Exactly.
I
And I
guys,
don't think it's right.
Whatever you
I don't
do,
think they
you
could.
can't stand in front of one thing.
That makes no sense, because if they were down to one target on the far right side, far bottom right, now is last one left, and you're standing in front of that target. Yeah. And the other, I mean, there's more to this also besides strategy stuff. Jordan talking throughout this whole thing. I mean, is this not making this elimination even better? He looks at Jay before he has one left on the top of Jack's head. He says his line, which is,
I told you.
what
coming
did I
back.
say?
What did I say?
And then after he says it, I believe a second time, he lobs the ball nice and easily over Jack's head. Doesn't have to do it twice or three times to get it. Right after he says the line, throws it. I don't think there was any editing there. I'm pretty sure he said the line, got the last out. Congratulations, Jordan. you're probably top 3 best player to ever play this game, as far as I'm concerned.
So I also someone tweeted, I don't know if you guys follow him, but Jordan is now tied with Wes as they are 8-10 elimination way. I think they're the highest elimination scores ever.
Males,
and Anissa is Anissa holds is
because Anissa holds the record, I believe, for the women.
For males. Wes and Jordan is now tied with Wes he's 8 out of 10 in terms of wins and loses. He's got an 80% elimination record.
That moment was so awesome, like vintage Jordan. I was like, yes, Jordan is still Jordan. He's still talking his shit.
Vintage. Remember Darrell last season when he outweighs Darrell? Like Jordan.
Oh, in All Stars, 3, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what's happened?
Yeah, that's
Jordan
true. He was shit talking his way, mind gaming his way through that whole elimination.
I just can't wait for Jordan.
Because I love when someone like backs it up, you know, and especially with someone like Jordan. Because as much as I thought it was so entertaining and such great TV that they put Jordan and Anissa down there, and then Laurel's going against them, I did not want Jordan and Anissa to go at all.
Oh God,
that would have been like a blow to the season if they left that early.
Yeah.
And it's fun because it ups the ante and the stakes of this whole veteran versus rookies situation, which I want to see more apparently in the actual storylines. Like they set the precedents early in the season. I know we kind of already talked about this, but I want to see more of that. Like, are people still on Jay and Michelle's side? Or is now Jordan and Nisa going to be like so immersed in this vets game, which we haven't really seen them doing yet? You know, or is it just unspoken that maybe they're not really talking about it? But I want to see the alliances. I really want like a clear gauge of the politics in the house, and we don't really.
Yeah, I'd like an objective, like a real world style episode where they're not just plotting out who's going into the elimination from start to finish of the episode. Because the other things that were teased yesterday and then went nowhere were Fessy and Laurel, which again, now she's gone, but I was like, Fessy 2.0. I have to call you Fessy, not Faisal, because this is so messy. It's like, didn't your girl go home one other day and Laurel's leaving Horacio's bed?
So he admitted he was being messy though. And also
I'm not going to be messy, but he was being messy.
He also wasn't Laurel attached to him at the beginning too. They had like 4 girls that were attached to him, like in his thing.
Yes. So Colleen, codependent.
And I wrote that down too. I said, as soon as Colleen goes home, you want to make a better connection with Laurel. Well, that's because Colleen's not there. Like, let's be real.
Fessy. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do. With that being said, though, it's funny because we've obviously like talked shit about him in the past, but I do want to see like a more of Fessy other than him just like randomly hooking up with people here and there. You know, like
I don't think there's much more to him, unfortunately.
And everyone's so afraid of him. They don't put him up on the chopping block, so we don't even get to see him in interrogations or anything.
Nothing.
And apparently he doesn't win daily challenges. He's not like he's blowing us away with that stuff either.
And his girl's good too, Mariah.
Yes, Mariah.
Yeah, so wait,
really
him and Mariah won this season, didn't they?
I think they won one, or at least they came close.
They won the one where they had to climb up and they were holding each other, moving barrels or something.
Yeah.
Mariah looks like she's doing awesome. So I wish we saw more of that. I wish that they would stop beating the horse of the one plot episodes, because I'm not getting enough of any, but like there's so many people that I want to see. I need more Devin this season.
Yeah.
I need more Fessy. I need more like what's going on with Chauncey and Amber. Like I just don't know.
We have not even seen them at all, by the way. We're gonna get more Devin next week, supposedly. Something goes down. Yeah.
All right.
Bananas and Devin's dynamic. Like, did the producers on this season not know all of like the backstories? Where's Jordan and Bananas? Because they kind of had this little, oh, it's actually good to see you, buddy. Where'd that go? Come on.
That's all they get. And they also gave us Jordan and Devin are actually sleeping next to each other. They have 2 beds right next to each other. They've showed it. Oh, cute, but they used to be enemies, right? So why aren't we playing more into that? Because I believe on episode 1, Banana said to Devin, hey man, I never thought I'd say this, but it's good to see you. And then basically producers think, okay, that's all we want to see that? Like that's where they ended it.
Like, more Jordan and Tori.
More Jordan and Tori.
The bar conversation.
Of course we do. And that is the one storyline they are pushing every episode, but not enough.
Bit.
They gave
Not
a little
enough.
mention, but it's like, so you had a conversation at the bar. Now we see you're snuggling in bed together. Obviously, you're friends. She's like my two best friends.
They were
But it's
standing
like-
next to each other during the daily when they went over the rules. When TJ, Tori, and Jordan were standing next to each other during that. They didn't have to stand
And
next
they're
to each other.
referring
but
to
they
each
did.
other as best friends. So I'd like to know at what point in life was the timing of the Jemmy reveal story to this. I think it was way before, because they had a nasty breakup, you know what I mean, of an engagement. So I'm
During
really
the
happy to see
club
them-
tonight, when Jordan was doing a funny dance, Tori was there like hovering over him like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So
I mean,
they're
they're
clearly
obviously close.
they're clearly talking more than they're showing. They're clearly involved
Right.
more than what they're showing us. But maybe there's just not much to show. Maybe they both decided just to be friends, because I
Cool.
believe coming up, Jordan gets involved with another cast member that's not Tori.
Woo! Okay, so good, because my nightmare last night was watching it, and I was like, oh my God, what if Jordan and Anissa like go home and that was it? That's all I'm gonna get of this storyline with what's happening with him and Tori.
Because it's weird, because I was talking with my sister, who's also a huge Challenge fan, the one that's Jenna's twin, and they look
Yes.
exactly the
You
same.
have to have her cameo because no one believes it. But when I
Just
saw
have
her,
her in my place. Just
yeah,
And what happened was now I lost my train of thought, but my sister mentioned, oh, hey, did you see that Jordan was showing interest in this girl during an episode?
Ooh,
And I was
okay,
like,
don't even tell me. See,
I
didn't watch
won't.
it.
I'm not gonna say the name. I was like, I didn't notice that, but that's so funny that you did, because now other people are coming out on social media that don't have spoilers, and they're like, oh, something's gonna happen between these
Okay,
two
don't
because
say,
we
don't say.
saw them talking in an episode. But so my sister saw it too, but I didn't see
They
this
always give
interaction
fake outs
happen.
too, so who knows? Such fake
I have
outs. in
no
the TV,
idea.
that's why.
Also, Nelson went on to his Instagram or Twitter this week and said, you're all about to see a bunch of fake ass relationships like that you think you know that aren't going to be real, like more than friend relationships or something.
Oh, God.
All right,
or maybe
well,
just relationships he
I knows
means
meal.
friendly. I don't know, but whatever.
I'm here for it. Whatever it
Yeah,
is.
Yeah,
I mean,
bring it on.
Let's say this, ladies. Are we all like, remember how much hype I gave this season, how I was in so much hope that it would be good? I have to admit, I think this is the best challenge we've seen in 2 years.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's great. I love
Not
it.
really good.
not all stars wise, but like original challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spies,
really good.
lies, alibis, cocktails, all those
Oh,
stupid
God, that one
themes,
was,
skulls and balls. Yeah, I don't want to. Any of those are stupid.
What was the one
Um,
before Spies, Lies, and Allies?
Skulls and balls,
It was not
Uh,
called Skulls and Balls.
Spies Lies.
bones and thrones.
No. When they
Bones
were
and
Bunker?
Thrones, actually, is what it was called.
What was it? Oh,
Bones. Bones
Rekindle and
Thrones.
Bone.
Spies, rekindle and bone.
Rekindle and Bone is awesome.
Rekindle and Bone was a
Rekindle and
great
Bone.
one that we should definitely
Oh my
have
God,
for
Rekindle
39.
and Bone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
Any other final thoughts on this episode, which was called Michelle and
No, we
High
love
Water?
you guys. Thanks. Join
No.
our Patreon and
This
hear
is good.
about Bachelor in Paradise and hashtag show us your daggers.
Oh, Wait, how
Mm.
many hashtags do we have? Oh, they have a lot
Just
of
show
hashtags.
us your
to put up.
daggers.
What was
else
our
I
other
have?
one?
I had hashtags Dan's Dagger. Hashtag
Dan's daggers.
Dagger.
All right, Dan's
Mhm.
daggers is easier. Fine. Hashtag
Or Dan's Dagger. Yeah, either one. Yeah. That's kind of inappropriate.
Mm.
It,
All right.
Love
it
you.
chose the line.
You can combine the two and it can be Show Us Dan's
Show Us
Dagger,
Dan's
which
Dagger.
is even
Is that
better.
is Dan's Daggers your OnlyFans account?
Well, we thought it was. We actually, you ladies told me it was only Dan's. My only Dan's account,
Is that
only
your
Pam's
OnlyFans?
account. We had a bunch of these going.
Only
Yes.
Pam's.
Is OnlyFans still a thing? Never mind. We're good. We're gonna cut
What's
the
that?
show
Hey,
now.
what's
Cut
that
it.
new one that there's a new social media
Sex
thing?
site?
What's it called?
I don't know. I'm asking you a new like sexy site.
I don't know if it's sexy or not, but people are talking about it. It's not Instagram. It's like another. But you have to be. You have to be more truthful on it. You have to have stuff to back it up. It's something. Oh gosh, someone will
What?
tell us in the comment
I
section.
don't know. I'm
Oh,
I'm
there's a new
intrigued about it,
thing,
but I'm not going to
Like a
join it.
discussion one that one of my podcasts has a thing on, and I was like, I can't learn a new thing, but it is called Discord.
Is that what I'm thinking of?
Oh, I know
Discord
that
is
one.
more like discussion though. It's not like a
Yeah, I thought Discord was when people like game together and they have a side chat room and they talk
Yeah,
to
you
people,
like, I don't
that's
know.
like a
but that might not be
Reddit.
the one I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, it's kind of Reddity.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I don't
all
need
right,
it.
then that's that. I don't. It's not
All
Discord.
right, I
it's
need to go check my hydration levels if you know what I mean.
Oh, all right. Do you know what she
me
means,
too.
Pam?
Love you guys.
Oh, all
Love
right.
you.
Talk to you later. Mwah.
Okay, bye.
Fantastic.